What kind of jobs do you feel are going to catalyze economic growth and increase business development? Do you have any specific plans regarding the creation of jobs for the city of San Bernardino?
One of the issues in San Bernardino that often people don't realize is that among our labor force, adults over 25, 1 out of 3 does not have a high school education. 1 out of 3, in other words, 30% of San Bernardino's population. 1 out of 6 in San Bernardino over 25 does not have a 9th grade education. There aren't very many jobs that those people can qualify for. And so one of the I guess elements of our jobs program has got to be really jobs training. I was over at the with the school district meeting this morning, talking about the career pathways program of the school district, and how in different schools there's different emphases. At the Norton Leyland School this morning, gosh, there's kids in 3rd grade that are working with CAD programs, and at the Sierra Continuation School on Pacific, they're working in geographic information systems, doing computer mapping and so forth with their high school program. But getting out of those programs, if you can, with a certification, and I think certification probably should be built into those programs. So the former student has got something that qualifies them for, well, in terms of the kinds of jobs in this area, health would from my point of view, we've got so many medical facilities. We've got Loma Linda, we've got San Bernardino, we've got Community Hospital, and so much of this is being computerized today with new machinery and technology and so forth. So there's a whole raft of health-related programs dealing with the mechanics of health, the equipment, the screening process, and so forth. Besides the fact of nursing and physicians and healthcare work, which is also, we have so much need for home care. People going into senior citizens, for example, going into extended care homes, very expensive, and so a lot would prefer to stay at home and then have a worker come into their home twice a week or once a day, whatever it happens to be, to care for that person and thus reduce the cost. So the jobs in the health industry are one area that I see as being a major possibility for the future. But obviously, everything dealing with the digital world can, that kind of technology transfers. And in terms of, and again, what I started talking about is the fact that a lot of our older workers over 25 simply lack basic educational skills, and so having training facilities available. Obviously, here at Valley College, you've got auto repair and you've got other sorts of training facilities. At the air base or the International Airport, Mike Gallo and the TET, the Technical Education Training Program, is teaching again digital machinery. Again, saw videotapes in terms of what they do over there. I learned, working with lathes and working with large cutting machines when I was in high school, but they've got it all digitized now, and it's all done automatically, and it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, and obviously, but it takes a lot of technical training to be able to handle those kinds of jobs, and then also training in other areas. I had an experience at the Electricians Union not too long ago, and make a long story short, they have an apprenticeship program, and they were talking about promoting the apprenticeship program in high schools and so forth. And their apprenticeship program lasts for 2 or 3 years, and the apprentice is paid $11 an hour. For somebody who just out of high school that is planning on going to college, well, that's you're learning, and it sure beats an internship that pays nothing. And so, and then but once you get out of the apprenticeship program, then you can start making money as a journeyman and then as a master and so forth. Well, I asked him, well, how many apprentices can you have? He said, well, we have positions for 40, but we only have 11 right now. And I said, did some get out? And you have no. We have a difficult time filling the apprenticeship positions. And I said, why? And he said, it seems that high school students aren't oriented towards these kinds of applied fields. Maybe because so many this is, again, a couple of years ago. The educational system at the time seemed to be focused on everybody going to college. And of course, later on, we're going to talk about college entry. In reality, most people don't go to college, and not everybody needs to go to college, as long as they have something beyond high school. And again, I'm thinking about the apprenticeships and electricians. I'm sure the plumbers union and the carpenters union has the same sorts of trade technical education, as well as, again, what Mike Gallo has, and again, what the high schools, what Superintendent Marston, with his career pathways. I guess I started talking about healthcare, and I missed talking about the fact that you have the San Manuel Community Health Training Center down on G Street. That's under construction now, 150,000 square feet, a clinical healthcare training facility. And there's a partnership between, Loma Linda is essentially providing the basis for it, but it's in partnership with the San Bernardino City Unified School District Career Pathways Program, whereas students from San Bernardino High School, or others I suspect, can be trained in the health services area at that facility, and then hopefully become certified using other kinds of educational opportunities as well. So that would be one specific example of bringing all these various threads together. And in terms of job creation, warehousing, the one big locational advantage that San Bernardino has right now is cheap land. And so warehousing is a big necessity, as you realize. When you fly into Ontario Airport, about the last 2 minutes, all you're flying over is warehouses. And so in my position, I've been here at Cal State for almost 35 years. A lot of my students have gone out into city government and consulting firms. And a couple of weeks ago, I got a phone call from a former student who said, we're having problems with one particular issue in terms of about a firm that wants to build almost 500,000 square feet of warehouse space, and there was concerns about transportation. Obviously, there's going to be issues. I don't know if you're familiar with in Moreno Valley. There was a big issue. There's like a couple million square feet warehousing facility, and it just got passed. But getting back to San Bernardino, yes, there's going to be transportation issues with regard to smog and particulates and so forth, but the reality is, given the low level of education right now in San Bernardino, hopefully that's going to be corrected over the long run, but right now our labor force does not have the educational background, and so warehousing provides a job. It provides the first rung on the ladder, and I'm the best example of that. When I was in high school, I never planned on going to college, and this is in Buffalo, New York. I finished high school there. I grew up in Kansas City, but I finished high school in Buffalo, and there were lots of blue-collar jobs, a lot better than just warehousing. But I took the easy route and just got the first job I could find, loading trucks, and but that was the first rung on the ladder. It was a good job. I made, as an 18-year-old, I bought a brand new Chevy convertible and so forth. Chevy convertibles at the time were probably your Lexuses today. They were the one of the big items. On the programs on television, you'll see nice advertisements for Chevy convertibles. But I was 18 years old, and I was living the good life. But ultimately, as you realize, there was a major downturn in the northeastern economy, And I was probably one of the first areas affected by the Buffalo has been really hard hit. There were a lot of folks in Buffalo at the time that could be middle class. There were 3 steel mills, there were granaries, there were Quaker Oats, and among others, and then there was the Ford plants, and there were Chevy plants, and there were tool and die plants, and so forth. So there's huge pump operations, and so there was a lot of people who didn't have anything more than a high school education, but they were making very good money in these various blue-collar positions. Those are all gone now. All the steel mills are gone. All the granaries are gone. Chevy and Ford closed down. I didn't even mention chemical. We had Republic Chemical. We had, I'm trying to think, what was the Love Canal people. Hooker Chemical was also there. Big operations. And they're all gone. And so what's there left then? Well, the point is, Buffalo's in the same situation that we are. There's lots of jobs, but the point is you need to have something to get those jobs. And people ask me, often say, oh, the economy here is so bad, there's no jobs. There are jobs, but often we don't have the workers, and a lot of them unemployment. But the point is, you think about 1/3 of our workers don't have a high school education. There's only so many housekeeping jobs available, and so many, the people that dust your living rooms and so forth. I mean, what else can you get? Stocking shelves, the older man behind the counter at McDonald's. What else is there? But with training, and again, it's going to take more than when I was in high school and getting out of high school. You didn't need anything more than a high school diploma to do that. So in terms of, I think I probably went to I think on through that second discussion with regard to the kind of jobs. We really need to get more into the technology fields, and we are.